right, we'll start with a simple sequence. I'm going to use a preset, a Superberry preset called Noisy Sine. And it sounds like this. But I will not play it, no. I will use a sequencer. And I will use numerology this time. If you want to follow along, of course, use whatever sequencer you have. I'm just in the mood for this one. And let's set this to pentatonic minor. And let's choose maybe F. And while we're at it, I'm going to do the same here in the project. F pentatonic minor. Good, that looks like it went on all tracks. Can delete these two for now and take the sequencer in on our noisy sine track. It's working. All right, there's a few different generators here that create different type of sequences. I'm going to try, let's start with acid and see what it gives us. Let's drop the tempo to maybe 80 something. The key when making this type of music is really to practice self-restraint. So it's very tempting to go far on every sequence, on every sound, on every modulation and automation, but it will not benefit the overall sound. So I think this is a good starting point. Numerology calls these sequences presets, so I will duplicate this preset to preset 2. And here I will implement some slight changes using this evolve function. And it has 3 different things that you can trigger. I'm going to be using X. And if we open up here to look what X is set to by default. And you can, of course, add all types of stuff here, but we're not going to bother with that today. So every time I hit X, there's a 50% chance probability that it will swap to pitch values. There's a 10% probability that it will move one step a semitone up or down, and there's also a 10% probability that it will move one step a fifth up or down. So no drastic changes, nothing radical, perfect for what we're doing here. So I'm gonna just press X until I see some changes, and then we will listen back to our sequences. So that was a very small change. From here, let's see what it sounds like. 2 times each will be good. I think that's very good. This is a good example of something that can go on for long, will not take too much attention, and will sound, the interest in variation will come from whatever it drops, whatever we have as a backdrop. So moving on from this, we will just record the clips 2 times each. That should be good. Yeah, make that 4 bars. We can remove numerology now. And also, in the name of minimalism, we're gonna restrict ourselves to picking 2 parameters here only to use for automation over the course of quite a long time. So I know already that this mix parameter will sound good. I also don't want anything that has too drastic of an impact on the sound. Maybe we'll keep this one up here actually. bit drastic, but if we just make small movements, it could be good. So let's group this, map the mix to macro 1, map bright to macro 2, and I think maybe we will turn that down like so. Yeah, kind of a rounded saw, from sine to rounded saw. And that one can go like that. All right. So that one is good like so. Let's get some pads in here. I'm going to be using Serum 2. And we'll use the spectral engine. And there's a very nice sound in here in the spatial map. Digital nature. Sounds like this. No? It's a nice sound, but it's tuned to A. So we have to increase this with 3 semitones so that when we hit C, it will in fact play a C. And we'll set the amp envelope to something pad-like. Maybe something like this. So now we got this. But let's not stop there. Let's drop a massive reverb on here too. I'm using the Ambient Night preset from in Spaceblender. So that rings out for a very long time, which I think might be cool for the style we're aiming at. So let's create an 8-bar loop and open up the grid to create some really long, nice sustained notes for our chords. And I'm just going to be walking up here from F2, that will be our 1 chord, 2 chord, and maybe 3, 4, maybe a 5 chord, and maybe back on a 2 chord. I'm going to select all of them, and I'm going to Command C, Command V, and press arrow up 7 times to get these perfect fits. And I'm going to be transposing, I will transpose down that one to get it into the same range as its neighbors. Let's decrease the steps, the grid size a bit to maybe half notes, and deselect everything. It's important that everything is deselected. I'm going to press generate and choose rhythm, seed. And let's set our range here to maybe, should we go F2 to F4? You see it changed the range here for us and then deselect again. And now I'm going to pull this up to as far as I can, which is whole notes. And this one will follow along. We want some long sustained notes. Something like that, maybe. I want more on the 3rd chord, maybe. We'll drop it like this and maybe add a density there. Yeah, something like that. This looks a bit crowded. But we'll have a listen. Turn down the volume first. All right, let's listen to it. Pretty good. We might just add some deviation on our generated notes and also give them some chance so that I'll just randomize this. That's our velocity and the chance is there. Let's just have a look. Come on, there. Let's just pull them down a bit more. Just to really know that the power chords or the perfect fits that we made earlier are constant, and the rest comes every now and then, just to make this 8-bar loop much longer than it actually is, if that makes sense. And yeah, I think we'll remove that one. 5, 4. Okay, so this is the most notes that we'll ever play at once, it seems, which is 5 notes, and yeah, that's fine. So let's leave it at that for the MIDI. Let's work with Spaceblender now and modulate this dot here, this point, to get different tails, like so, something like that. So let's load an LFO. And let's map that to shape X. Turn down the rate a lot and set this to a triangle. So if I were to use this very LFO, this same LFO, and do shape Y, it would just make this diagonal movement throughout the whole thing. So I'm going to load the second LFO. But first, let's just set this one to 50 or 0.5 so that it doesn't... that's fine, 0.51, so that it doesn't stay on any side for too long. Right, and now let's map shape Y with the other LFO. Turn down the depth a lot. This can remain a sine. Let's have a listen while we tweak. Set this one in the middle too somewhere. Maybe we can, although this is really borderline taking it too far and not restraining, maybe we can map the rate on the second LFO with the first LFO to see. I think it's all right. It's not too overwhelming. It's pretty good. Let's get an auto filter. Let's see if there's something here that might... Well, for sure I would want this for later when we start arranging this. It will come in handy. So that one will stay for sure. And let's have another one that might be more creative. Or let's see if we can make it creative. Maybe it will not. Now. Now let's keep it simple. Let's just keep this one here and move on. So let's do some housekeeping here. Sequence, chords, pads, I don't know, pads. Let's do chords. Now let's do pads. Next, I wonder if we should add another type of pad-like sound here based on our initial sequence. So if we just select all of this and stretch it out 8 times, make this a bit longer, and give it legato and have a sip of coffee. I will try a preset, Chiral preset. maybe we can just remove some of these. And we'll just zero them out so that we can bring them back if we want. And by zeroing them out, I just mean selecting them, pressing 0 to inactivate, to deactivate them. We might do the seed trick here too, but with just one voice. Sure, and this last one we can give a 50% chance. I think that's pretty good. Maybe some more reverb. Maybe dial in the sound a bit. All right, so let's map the tone to macro 1. That seems like something I would like to open up. Very nice. I think I will leave it at that. We can always add one macro later if we feel that we need. So what should we call this one then? Harmonium? No. Lead, it's not a lead, I don't know. Pads too. It is what it is. Let's get some bass now, and we can try this synth, Flowtones. And let's base this off of the sequence as well. So we have 3 tracks now that will have melodic content that is completely, well, based off of the first sequence that we made in numerology. But due to their different characters and envelopes, they sound pretty distinct. So let's go and stretch this as well 4 times. Let's also legato, but here let's just stretch the ones. I think a good sustained bass will work here. So it's a bass, so let's drop this a couple of octaves too, and let's have a listen. I like it, but I think we have to do something about the low end. Let's bring down the volume first. Yeah. Let's give it some ring mod. I will solo this track. Seems with the ring mod. It's a shame because I really like that low hit, but I think we'll have to bring it up. Unfortunately, if we bring it up an octave, we're just playing F almost the whole time. So let's try this maybe. It's a bit cheap to just play fifths like this, but I think that's what we have to do. Right, so let's add some noise, which is very overwhelming without the ring mod, so let's introduce some ring mod here. Nice crunch. Maybe some light delay. All right, that's pretty good. So for our parameters here, for our automation, let's bring in the level of oscillator 2, like this. I think that's a nice subtle effect. And I guess that's it for inside here. I'm thinking to get an auto filter and maybe get, see, like this we almost get a hi-hat type of. Right, not bad. Maybe even, let's see if this makes a difference if we do the dry wet instead of the cutoff frequency. There is a difference. Let's I've set up these limits of 2 parameters. Let's do this one, and let's do the cutoff. All right, that's our bass. I think it's almost there. What it's lacking would be maybe a some type of percussion. These are quite funny. Let's get a sequencer in there. Set it to 15 steps. Give it some roll, velocity, some random pan maybe. This one is, of course, these cells correspond to the drum rack, so I will tune here instead of simpler. Let's scroll through here and see if we get some better match. maybe some delay, like sure, let's do that. Let's record this, let's give it a clip as well. So we will record the MIDI out from that track into a new MIDI track, maybe for 8 or 16 bars. All right. Just drop that there and get rid of the sequencer. And get rid of this one too. So now, aside from those parameters, actually, let's not jump ahead too fast. Let's just map this mix as well. And I think I want it not to go over 37. That's fine. Right, so aside from these macros, the automation that I don't count in this type of arrangement would be the gain and the auto filter. I do count it here because it kind of separates the sound into two distinct things. But for these pads, you know, this one I don't count into, well, this one doesn't have any automation because it has the modulation, so I didn't put any limitations there. But yeah, so let's do this the easy way. Let's just let's rename this, and I will just select all of those, hold shift, or hold them and press shift, tab to go to the other side. Drop them there. And we want to start with the pads. So move everything else along. And maybe we'll start with this pad. Get an auto filter on the second one too. Hit this padlock here to not copy the automation. Actually, I will just drag out the clip, so disregard that. Maybe we should have the sequence come in there. Well, there's a few different ways to go about this. Of course, you can fade it in. I think it sounds fine just to have it come in there after 45 seconds. So let's just extend that. And all of these. Let's have the percussion come in last. Bass. That's going along well. So now let's do something with the parameters we chose on our sequence. So we haven't even done anything on this macro. Let's maybe here, something like that. This is just, you have to feel this, you know. Another way of doing it would be to record everything and do this manually or with your controller. I'm doing it for the sake of this video like this, in this way. You know, I think I'm gonna wrap up the video part of the arrangement here, because I think you get the point and you don't want to see me, you know, sitting here and just pulling stuff around. I'm sure you have better things to do. So I will finish this up. In the meantime, or before I do that, I will just say a few things, what I will do when this is arranged. Then I will start to, you know, right, I started talking way too much there, so I had to cut the video short. And the track is arranged. I haven't done anything extreme since I stopped the recording. It's just, you know, it had reached its peak. I just made sure everything was fading out nicely and smoothly. I chose to have this pad sound be the last to ring out in this composition, because it will make a very easy, seamless loop of the whole composition, which might be something that people who work with video want to make use of. And I have made a video in the past on how to do seamless looping. I will link it up in the corner or under the video. The only other thing I would like to talk about here on the mastering chain, you can see I've used a bunch of stuff here. I'm not going to go into the details of any of them, except one thing I would like to point out here. And that is, if you have a compressor that has mid-side option to compress either the mids or the sides, it's very, I like to do that on this type of music, on soundscapes, on ambient compositions and underscores, because it will bring out the sides just by, you know, squashing the mids a little bit. And it works very well on this type of music. So, thank you very much for watching. This track will be uploaded on my other channel called Meaningful Music, which is a channel dedicated to music. So we're going to keep it separate and clean, with this channel being focused on techniques and workflows and tutorials, and the other one on releases, music. I've also uploaded this track to Bandcamp, so you can get the track there. And if you want the files, that is the audio files, not the Ableton project, because we're using a bunch of third-party things here. So the audio files, the individual, the multi-track, you can go to Patreon and get them there. And of course, both Bandcamp and Patreon are very good ways to support the work that I do here on YouTube, if it's helpful to you. So yeah, that's it. It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much, and I will catch you in the next video.